So first and foremost, before you even start on your journey, whatever it is, whatever things that you have in store for this year that you're going to set your goals for, before you even start, you are going to tell yourself that this is going to be no problem. Like, I got this. You're going to feel like, this is all I got to do is stick it out this time and it's going to be okay. Or you're going to tell yourself like, it's going to be different this time. And maybe it will, but are you taking steps to make sure if you're setting a goal this year that you set last year and the year before and many other years, are you taking steps to make sure that it's going to be different this time? Or are you going to try to do the exact same thing that you couldn't stick to last year? Because the biggest factor that's going to predict whether or not you're going to stick to your goals is adherence. If you can stick to what you're doing, then you will reach your goals. If you can't stick to it, so if you're doing the exact same thing that caused you to kind of fall off the wagon last year, then more than likely going that same route is going to tempt you to fall off of the wagon again this year. So what steps are you taking to make sure that it actually is going to be different? Don't just tell yourself it's going to be different this time and I'm just going to stick it out this time and, it's going to work as long as I have enough willpower, because that's not always the case. And if you're venturing into something that requires all the willpower that you have in the world, then the likelihood of you being able to stick it out is very, very minimal, because the psychology behind willpower shows us that willpower is not an unlimited thing. You can't just keep applying it and applying it and applying it. And if everything that you do is requiring willpower, you eventually run out. It's not an unlimited resource. So you need to have something from the beginning. You need to be making plans for something that you're actually going to be able to stick to, which, as we've talked about plenty of times, that means that the changes need to be small and they need to be something that you can literally imagine yourself doing 2 to 3 years from now. Don't dive into something that you can't see yourself doing long term, because then it won't be different. You'll run into the exact same brick wall. You'll run into the exact same, that point in the program or the journey or whatever it is that you realize, what, this sucks and I don't know if I want it that bad, or, I didn't think it was going to be that hard, which is the next group of lies that we're going into. So you want to make sure that you are setting the stage for this thing to really be different this year. Don't just say it, and don't just dive into something that requires you to have tons and tons of willpower, because then it won't be the same. Okay, so the third lie that you tell yourself before you start is, I'll just try this for a little while and see if it works. And then if not, whatever. Don't do that, because if you're telling yourself that, then you're setting yourself up to not even really do it. So you're already telling yourself that it's not going to work by saying, I'm just going to try it out for a little bit. Why are you just trying it out for a little bit? Is this not something that you want permanently? If it's something that you want permanently, then it needs to be a change that you plan on keeping up permanently. Okay, so the lies that you tell yourself before you start is that it's going to be different this time, that it's going to be a piece of cake, or that, I'm just going to try it out for a little while. Because what happens is later on that year, you're like, I wonder why I never got that thing. And because you only tried it out for a little while, like you planned to fail before you even started. So once you get started, if you actually do this thing and you get going on this, especially if you're on a journey like Eat More to Weigh Less, or you're trying to do something, maybe you're trying to build a business or any of these things, one of the lies that you're going to end up telling yourself, and you're going to find this probably early on, the second that things get hard, you're going to tell yourself, it shouldn't be this hard, which is like, that's a lie. I don't know who said that. I don't know why people tend to think that. We run into an obstacle and we think like, it shouldn't be this hard. It's hard. When you tell yourself that it shouldn't be this hard, that is a setup for failure, because the second that it gets hard, you leave because you go looking for something easier. And typically, if you're trying to fight to achieve something, when you're trying to get an actual goal, there is going to be work involved. Are there going to be parts that may be easier than other parts? Sure. Should you find the way, like how we talk about, that's going to make sure that this still includes some of you within that? Then yes, you want to make sure that it's easier than maybe the super hard thing that you just quit doing, but it is going to be hard.